So I'm back in the Greystone Nature Preserve, probably for the last time this year, and it's really nice to be here in the winter time. I'll soon head back to Europe, where fortunately it's summer, but here it's winter. Everything is dry and the grass is crisp. Some of the deciduous trees have lost their leaves, some haven't. So I've seen it this summer a few months ago. Now I've gone into winter. We still have lovely weather in winter. Cool evenings, cool mornings, but by the time it's afternoon, you can wear a t-shirt, you can walk outside. Maybe a bit cool in the shadows, but otherwise pretty good. So my house, that's where I grew up. Over there, we've got a lot of exotic plants here, and I used to wrestle with these under the initial guidance of my geography teacher, Rob Barrett, who taught me to distinguish between exotics and indigenous. We tried our best to uproot the stuff, sisal plants and ginger, I think, and these white flowering euphorbias and poinsettias. These plants are tough, they are resilient, and I don't bear them any grudge, any ill will. Got so many interesting phenomena. For example, why does that leaf have those funny bubbles to it? Don't know, some sort of parasite, I assume. So one of the president's many sons has allegedly bought this property. They completely demolished the old building by the looks of it and built a new one in its stead. These silver oaks here, they've been here for as long as I can remember, as have those fir trees over there. This area used to be mostly grassland, and now it's got a lot of cherries and these white stinkwoods, otherwise known as Celtis africana. Palms seeding themselves everywhere. Big exotic elm, I think it is. Providing a lot of foliage. This old acacia's died. They'll be a home to many creatures, no doubt. Once upon a time there was the most magnificent acacia seaborana through there. It's died, and in its place is a cordia. And I remember it was a tiny little tree by our fence, and it just landed up growing into a great big tree, which is now quite stately. And next to it, over there, is a lucky bean tree, which was also, once upon a time, a very lopsided tree, because there were 5 or 6 great big eucalyptus trees in that field of view that you see now. And they're gone. They've been felled. And you'll see notices saying, once to fell this tree, it's going to cost X amount. And you can personally sponsor the removal of a tree, like these great big coffee trees. I'll show you now. Earlier in the year, the residents sponsored the building of this, or the repair of the weir here, so people can cross over, especially in the wet season when you can have a lot of water coming down here. However, the dam's dried up, so probably the flow isn't what it was. That's pretty. It's a pretty time. And I used to be really fervently against, passionately anti-exotic, and I've changed. You know, like even this climbing Mauritian thorn has a beauty to it, you know. Look at those lovely flowers, probably providing cover for birds, food for insects. I can hear the sunbirds. Let's have a look and see what I can see. So this area here used to be a stream bed Oh, look at these pretty berries. Pretty much water all year. It was very rare that it didn't flow. And now, I believe it hasn't even flown in the rainy season. Flowed. And upstream, you'll see why. That stream was lovely once upon a time. Crabs, all manner of birds. And yeah, it's come to an end. And likewise, you know, if the dam spilled, then the water would flow down here over these dolerite boulders down to here. Fortunately, a lot of the trees are still here. These great big Celtis, Africana, all the waxberries are gone though, and most of the waterberries. They obviously needed a wetter environment. Proud to say that I was the first one to pioneer this route. I opened it up. We had a surplus of pine, and I got our handy woodcutter to section it longitudinally, so we had like these round pieces I could use as stepping stones. Of course they rotted away, and now we have real concrete ones. But as I say, I was the first to develop this route around the back here, and hence access this side of the stream, which was once just choked with lantana camara and all sorts of weeds. So this is actually a breached wall in itself. We found there's a breached wall here, there's another breached wall a couple hundred meters further down, and then there's the main dam wall where that woman's walking in the distance. And it has a lot of cracks in it, allegedly. I think the real problem is upstream. This wall is complete overkill. I don't know why they had to build it so big. It's a real monstrosity. This is the area that was once a wetland filled with ferns and sedges. Sadly, it's all dried out now. Palm trees, Trichonia, Cedrella. Oh, look at just frightened of Franklin. This building here was started like more than 25 years ago. Never been finished. It's interesting to see that there's a Jeep parked in the basement there. Pretty revolting plastic bottles, detritus on the edge of our great Zimbabwe style wall. Here we have the path going on along what would have been a secondary wall to the main one, right angle. So effectively you had the wetland hemmed in on two sides, and then it sloped upwards towards that edge over there. So quite effective at retaining the water. What you have now, with the demise of the dam, is a very impressive reed bed. It's really quite impressive. Look at that. So good for the weavers, the warblers, stone chats, that kind of thing. It's very pretty. Although it would be nice to have some water too. And this dam wall hasn't changed, so I can remember it spilling in years gone by. Dogs, Paddy and Liz, swimming from that side to this, looking very bedraggled. And so it's effectively downstream. This hasn't seen water flowing for some years now, I believe. But it's still nice and grassy until you get a little further down. This bench has also been here since those early days of the nature preserve, so 25 years ago or so. Let's see if there's a date on here. It says in loving memory of Joan Elizabeth Squires. No date, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was installed somewhere in the late 90s. So it's done pretty well. And hear that? Never sure if it's a boo-boo or a bush shrike. If you hear the duet, the ooh, and then the qua, then it's definitely a boo-boo. And over here, we have, as far as I can determine, the last remaining waxberry. There used to be hobos of them. Hobos means lots in colloquial Zimbabwean. You can just hear things. It's very, very peaceful, sedate. Yeah, these areas are very important. It's just a Ballantyne Nature Conservancy. Day before yesterday, took an extended walk there. Very impressed. You can cross Addington. You can start the upper Ballantyne Park proper, Ballantyne Park Dam, cross Addington Lane, walk through the middle dam. I can't remember what that's called. That's dry. The top one has a little bit of water, mostly dry. And then there are two further dams below, both of which are dry, but you can walk through them and you have lots of this kind of thing. Reeds, sedge. And yeah, I saw 28 birds, I think, species. And that's proper suburban area in winter. So not bad. Not bad at all. So this is the upper nature preserve. Here is the offending borehole. You can see even across the road there. It's all strictly permissible because that is supposed to be a green belt, which should deserve certain protections. But you know, we have political elites who are above the law, unfortunately. They will do as they will. We have a second structure over here. Probably encased steel and locked. I don't begrudge people their dreams. There's once a chap called Kadani who lived here. You can see he's planted citrus trees. He's terraced the slope there. So back in the 90s, I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea, but he built a skateboard rink there. But not very well. And it didn't take long, a couple of years, it started crumbling and fell to bits. It was popular for a while with all the kids in the neighborhood. Maybe it brought in some money, I don't know. Probably would have been fun. But yeah, no idea if he's still there. His son went to my high school. Perhaps he's taken over the ranch. Over here we have a very smart looking bridge. So this is the second or third iteration of a bridge here. There was one which had handrails. Probably not so important these days now that the water doesn't flow. There we go. This bridge is sponsored by Kennan Properties. You see we have nice thick vegetation. I think these are they cannas? I'm not sure. A lot of garden plants have made their way into this nature reserve, mixed with the indigenous stuff. Like this is the indigenous flora that you see mostly. Things like combretum, Dombea, Brachystegia, and others which I'm not so familiar with. I'm a little bit rusty after all these years. And these boys, Populus canescens. I remember this one, the grey poplar. The grey poplar, largely eradicated. That's one of the success stories of the eradication program, is the removal of the grey poplar, which is a very tough plant to remove because it suckers everywhere. So the succulent garden here in the corner was installed back in the probably around late 90s, somewhere around there, and it's still going. It's still looking good. We've got a beautiful candelabra tree at the back there. See that? That is Euphorbia ingens, unless it's been changed in the interim period. Probably Aloe arborescens, some kind of other Euphorbia, which I'm not familiar. And then some acacias, and even a New World sisal plant. Oh, hello. Also little blue wax bills, 5 inches. Nice to see. This nature reserve was founded in 1992, I believe, which would have been my first year of senior school. And I was very keen from the outset to get involved. And what's amazing is how it's changed with time. I've already pointed out how the wetland area below the wall has dried out, and the dam itself for that matter, but also the grassland here. This was a grassland area back in those days, exclusively grassland. That acacia has appeared in the last 25 years, as have almost all these trees. And it was interesting to hear a local fundi, an expert from the Tree Society, say it's because of the proximity to the asphalt road, he thinks, has provided a warming climate, or at least modified the local microclimate such that it became amenable to the plants to grow along the edge. You can certainly see it's almost like a woodland along the edge here. And then it's just been a matter of progression year on year, such that the grassland is slowly becoming miombo. I mean, it's quite likely that it was like this once upon a time, before the original farmer in the area 3/4 of a century ago or more came and chopped down the trees and planted whatever he planted. Built the dam, Wernick's dam. So perhaps it was Mr. Wernick. But I remember taking a walk with Mr. Hyde, and incredibly knowledgeable man. Plant after the end of the dry season, after the grass has been burnt, and you'd be amazed at how much comes through. And I really see little tendrils here and there that are complete and other things. But he pointed out dozens of plants, and I'm talking about perennials and stuff that with bulbs beneath the surface. It's incredible. Just a really fascinating insight into what's beneath the soil, even when it looks dry and parched and without life. There is so much beneath it, which is something to take heart from, isn't it? I must be on my way because I cycled here, and the days get shorter week on week. Can really feel twilight drawing in, so I must be on my way. Just seen John McCarthy and his wife been walking since forever. So it's nice to see a few familiar faces and know that there's some continuity. Let's look at the dam. Dry, at least at the surface. There's no doubt some moisture down below, especially where all the reeds are thriving. But hopefully one day it'll have water again. Each time of year has its charms. And now it's crisp evenings, cool, crisp evenings, and nice panoramas. See those clouds. We're looking across to Kambanji and Glenlawn in the distance.